Our next inductee skied to new heights for the Gettysburg track and field team. But it wasn't just his pole vaulting ability that made and continues to make him special. Through the mentorship of Lefty Beiser, Dr. Stephen Jirgal went on to a career in athletic training and now into full-time ministry. Let's hear more about why he is deserving of this spot in the Hall of Athletic Honor.
Steve Jirgal was a key member of the Gettysburg track and field team during his tenure at the college, soaring higher than nearly every other pole vaulter during his time and since his graduation. He made an impact both on the track and in his extracurriculars, showing what it means to be Gettysburg great.
Well, Steve Jirgal was a good student. He was a very competitive athlete, but beyond that, he had what I would call a real search for knowledge and truth. He had an impeccable personality. He was always upstanding and upright with me, and we spent a lot of time together his 4 years here. He was a very, very competent and able person to lead us in many ways, and I think he was a very good representative for the college, not only in character but in athletics.
Jirgal was a 4-time Middle Atlantic Conference pole vault champion. In 1978, during his sophomore season, he earned All-American honors by finishing 5th at the NCAA Division III championships. His height of 15.0 stood as the program record for 10 years, while his indoor record of 14.6 was held until 2003. More than 40 years later, Jirgal's indoor and outdoor bests still rank second in program history. Jirgal was a 4-time national qualifier and a 3-time champion at the Mason-Dixon Relays, and he was named to the MAC All-Century team.
He was a leader of that group. I think he held them together in many ways. That was a good track team in those days, and they had some good athletes and some good leadership qualities. But Steve seemed to be a leader among that group because I think he was outgoing and he presented himself well, and he was very well respected by other members of the track team because he worked really hard and he excelled at what he did. He was a good motivator. He motivated other people around him to do very well. And I think that was one of his greatest assets, that he motivated people to work when they were out of season, work in difficult situations. And his personality was one that was infectious upon other people, I think.
Outside of track and field, Jirgal was a dedicated member and leader of Gettysburg's branch of Fellowship of Christian Athletes and worked in the athletic training room.
He was an advisor of mine, but he was also a student of mine. He worked for me also in the training room off and on while he was at Gettysburg. He also was a very, very reliable member of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. This last year he was a senior. He was the president of that group and ran an extremely good meeting. Many times we'd have up to 125 to 130 people come to our meetings, and Steve was the leader of that. He had a way of attracting people to his way of understanding, his way of leadership.
Former Gettysburg head men's track and field coach Jim Wright also shared a few words about Jirgal. Wright coached Jirgal during his junior and senior years. A leader in many ways, he often led the team in prayer before meets, then led them in competition, dominating the MAC pole vault through his career. Steve was, in effect, a player coach, performing his event at a consistent level of excellence while guiding and teaching his vault teammates how to grow and improve. Affectionately known as Sky King to his teammates and friends, he embodied the positive competitive spirit of the record-setting teams of his generation. As the ultimate team member in a sport marked by individualism, he also ran many middle-distance races and relays in his last years to aid a team that had dwindled in competitors. I will always remember him as a model of excellence and enthusiasm, and as a moral North Star for our teams. Jirgal graduated from Gettysburg in 1980 with a degree in health and physical education. He holds master's degrees in health education, sports medicine, and divinity, as well as a doctorate in ministry. Jirgal has served as the senior pastor at Lakeview Baptist Church in Monroe, North Carolina, and is the founder and director of the Jirgal Leadership Institute, which strives to equip people for success in leadership roles. Jirgal and his wife Pam have 3 children, Joshua, Caleb, and Sarah.
I think he highly deserves this honor. I think it's been a long time overdue for him. I think he's an athlete who deserves to be in the Hall of Honor because of his leadership qualities and because of his athletic skill. His perseverance to continue to work hard. He was a guy who never quit. He always worked, no matter what the circumstances were. He was always active, working, and trying to improve himself, trying to improve those around him.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Steve Jirgal.
Well, good evening. Okay, there's no response. It's a good evening for me anyway. It's good to see you here tonight, and I am humbled and honored by both the Orange and Blue and Gettysburg College. This is a place that's so easy to love and so easy to compete for and so easy to make home. You don't know this, and it's not well known, but I am also the unofficial record holder for the quarter mile on our track here. It's unofficial because I did it with a car. And Bob Long timed me. I did it in 36 seconds, came around the final, turned sideways, and almost wiped out a row of hurdles. And you can do stuff like that when you're on cinders. Well, you don't have to be crazy to be a pole vaulter, but it'll really help you. Because who else would take a stick that bends and sometimes breaks, goes about 440 yards away, runs as fast as he can, puts it in a hole in the ground, it bends all the way that it can bend, shoots you upward, and you turn around and land on your back. You got to be crazy to do that. And what a great sport and what a great opportunity. Well, along with being a pastor, I'm the founder and director of the Jirgal Leadership Institute, and Jim Martino and Bob Long serve on our advisory team there. And one of the adages we have in the Jirgal Leadership Institute is this: you become what you surround yourself with. You become what you surround yourself with. And I'm so thankful that God has seen fit to surround me with such great people my entire life. I've got a fantastic wife of 35 years. Pam is here. And we've been through more things than you can imagine, but we've seen so many blessings. And our son Joshua's here. He's the strength coach for Duke University. Okay, nobody's a fan, but I'm a fan of yours. And he's with us, and we're so proud of our other two children. And my brother Casey's with me. Casey lives in New York, and we had the privilege of growing up together, though my wife would question whether or not I've grown up most of the time. But we've been on the track team together growing up and just had so many experiences. And then when I showed up at Gettysburg College, I was just a knucklehead freshman. I didn't know whether to whistle or wind my watch. I had no idea what was going on, but I get recruited by Barry Streeter and Jim Wright, and undoubtedly they went over and did some fast talking over at admissions, and I was brought onto campus and got under their influence immediately. And then I meet Lefty Beiser, and I don't know if you know Lefty and Shirley, but I think that if you don't love Lefty and Shirley, you're probably not going to go to heaven. I think that's in the Bible somewhere. Read the whole thing; it'll do you good. And Lefty was not only an influence on my life, but he was my academic advisor. And then he went on to be the faculty advisor for the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, which Bill Geating was instrumental in starting here on campus, and then really was a father figure for me away from home. But I had coaches, and I had teachers, and I had people around me that were such a great influence on my life. And what a team. What a team. It was just a wonderful time of teamwork and working hard and developing and pushing each other and just trying to make each other better and better and better. And it was a wonderful time. And through track and field, we got to travel everywhere from Illinois to New York and Michigan to Florida and everywhere in between. Later on, I got to represent the United States on the U.S. track team, and just wonderful experiences that track has blessed me with. And all these teammates are here. A whole bunch. Guys, raise your hand. Teammates, raise your hand. Yeah, that's this. Okay. Great guys, just phenomenal personalities, men of character. Another adage we have in the Jirgal leadership is this. Now pay attention because I may lose you on this, okay? But I adopted this early, even though I couldn't inculcate it the way I do now. But it goes this way. When your want to becomes your got to, then your possibly becomes your probably. And when your probably becomes reality, then your got to becomes your get to. And all the people who have come up and spoken before, they've lived that out, even though they may not realize that. Because you've got to get from a point where it's just a want to, where something would be nice if it happened. If I lose some weight, or if I get a degree, or if I run in an event, that would be nice. You got to get past that. And it has to go from a want to a got to, that I've got to do this. I've got to lose weight. I've got to make some money. I've got to compete. I've got to get up early. I've got to study hard. And that got to, there's no guarantees, but it changes the possibly to a probably. And when that probably becomes reality, then your got to becomes a get to. Amen? And if you develop that thought process, maybe not in those words, and you wind up here, this is what you get to from all the things you decided that you got to. And so I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for so much in my life. I've been blessed beyond measure. And if you spend time with me anytime at all, you'll understand why I'm so thankful and so grateful for the blessings that God has brought my way. So thank you for being here. Thank you for your time and attention. God bless you, and go Bullets.